This is really just kind of an informal conversation between 4 restaurant owners and what it's like to do this industry and be in this industry in 2020, which you can imagine is quite the year to be in the restaurant industry. But yeah, we just thought it'd be kind of a cool idea to see what it's like. The 4 of us talk regularly through text, email, Zoom meetings, conciliatory hangout sessions to silently cry about our days and
drowned our sorrows,
celebrate our small victories when we have them. So we just wanted to invite you in on the conversation and see what it's like. We've got Josh Binning from Lucha and the new Ranchero Pizza, which is super awesome.
Thank you.
We had it at one of our last meetings. We've got Pat Alberto, Octane, and soon to be takeover with Disco Chicken this weekend. And then we've got our man Zach Rotello from the Olympic. Myself, Paul Sutton from Abrio. And so we're just gonna hang out and talk and let you in on
See what happens.
on what we do.
Can we
And,
swear
we
on
might
this?
have some drinks.
Can we swear?
We can swear on this.
Can you
right?
swear? Yeah, I think so.
I don't think a network's picking it up.
Sure.
Yeah, I
I'll
don't.
try and tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna call
Don't
it.
go
by
for
the-
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go like full, like Saturday midnight
Right, sure.
levels
Okay.
swearing,
10 p.m.
but
Okay,
I don't
so
think
like
we're
a little
gonna.
under that.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna
Sunday
put
at
like
2 p.m.
a.
swearing.
9:38.
Gosh darn it!
Gee
Oh,
Willikers.
shucks.
Gee Willikers.
Oh, shucks.
Oh shucks, we'll all sound like Joe McKenna.
There we go.
Oh darn!
Oh gosh darn.
All right.
You teeing us up with something?
Yeah, are we going off the list?
You know, I think we have a long list of questions,
Yeah.
and and we could probably pick apart any question and talk for hours, but
Yeah.
that would be
Expand on
because
it.
it's just been a nuts year, right?
Sure.
So, like, right, we're all 4 very different businesses and 4 very different backgrounds.
Sure.
Right. And yet we all run our places differently, and but there's a continuity, right? I mean, what is our continuity? I mean, if we were to say the differences that we have in the way, I mean, you've got legacy, right? 75 years, is it this
Sure.
year?
This is our 75th
Right?
year business, yeah.
Which is incredible.
Yeah. I'm definitely the only one in the family crazy enough to want to continue doing this. So,
Yeah.
it's a fun business, I love doing it. We've been talking all week, back and forth, us, customers, guests, and saying, what are you missing right now from the business? I'm like, it's the people, Mike Roper of the Hop Leaf in Chicago, I follow him a lot on Facebook. I respect his opinion a great deal. I love that bar. And he's been talking with people online. He's saying, this is such the most insane thing that's happening to us right now. I didn't get into this business to open a carry-out business.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
He's like, I'm getting to be whatever age I am. He goes, I don't want to have a carry-out business. If I did, none of us would have spent all this money on making the interiors of our nice, places nice and comfortable. And
Well, it's the interaction, right? Everybody's missing
and also
closeness.
it's the people. So while I totally understand how a respiratory illness makes places where people gather the target, like I understand that makes sense to me. That's kind of common sense, and that's just unfortunate of how this goes. So I'm happy that we're learning more and more about COVID as time goes on. But Mike said something online that hit me right in the feels. He's like, the hop leaf doesn't fit in a to-go box. And I'm like, I'm stealing that. Sure. I'm going to be stealing that for my verbiage. Good. We can all put some food to go, like we are, and we're all doing it right now out of necessity. And Paul, for sure, your restaurant, before probably didn't do a ton of. I know you do a lot of catering, but you didn't have.
It doesn't work.
You didn't have
super,
to focus on to go for the style of food that you
Sure.
do, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't your focus. We've all taken a different approach. Josh, you lean heavily on to go, and
You're like my to-go Don.
your way of setting
Like,
things
wait.
up is great at your place, but that Pat's place doesn't lend itself to its ease of like logistics of that. So we would have all done things differently if we planned on focusing on carryout. We would have planned our layouts differently. So, but also like the people aspect, that's we could all find a job, doing stuff in food prep if that's all the part of the business that we wanted to do, but that's not all of what we want to do. So, but I don't have the
Yeah, I
quick
mean,
answer
what's
for that. though.
like, I mean, in the sizes, right? I mean, like, I mean, how many seats you got in yours? Well, you just added on the
I just
banquet
added
room.
on, so altogether we have about 100 seats.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, this is pre-COVID.
Right.
Okay.
Because I just opened the dining,
This
the private dining
pre-COVID
room.
life at Aptiv.
Like fire
Are you
code,
using
like
that
fire
now?
code.
For- as a
Yeah,
separate
we
dining
are.
room?
Yeah, that's how we spread out every reservations.
He's got his place set up like a maze.
Yeah.
With all
So
those dividers?
in May, I bought all these dividers that were these like wooden, nice-looking black dividers. I was like, but I'm not going to be able to separate these rooms as much as I could, so I just bought them and kind of made everybody kind of secure in their
Okay.
own way. But yeah, we were just about to, jet set into like music, like live music, and we had parties booked, and
All your summer programming stuff.
I think I went to your last live music with Liv Lombardi.
yeah, that was the last. That was it. That was Liv Lombardi. Like it was a great setup to what's going to be an awesome future for the private dining room, and now it's just sitting there empty, and that's where I go to cry.
It's weird
It sounds
walking
better.
through empty restaurants.
It is.
I mean, I can see 210 people if I'm at full seating, and then I just walk through right. Like the dining room is just like, it's a storage room. Chairs are
Yeah.
up. There's just piles of cardboard boxes with to-go boxes in it.
Yeah.
And we've just like made these spaces. Like my bar right now has a couch in the middle of it, so we can sit down and watch TV.
Yeah.
It's
That
just.
picture you said was great. You're like just chilling.
So I'm
I
like,
thought I saw that. I was
I'd
like,
rather not be sitting here. I wish we had some customers, but
I've made sure to in any news interview I've done the last month that if we're like taping anything in the bar room, and a lot of time I'll have them come in early or something before we even open. I'm like, put all the chairs down on the ground.
right.
I don't want people to see. I don't like when people see this bar with the chairs up, right? You don't want them to get used to seeing that.
It's quiet. It's cold in the restaurant because they're not paying for the heat. So
Exactly.
the heat's at like 55, and you walk in, you're just like, this is just.
and one day I walked into
Yep.
I walked into the restaurant, the private dining room had the ladder, and the vacuum cleaner was just sitting there, and I lost it. I'm like,
Yeah.
we put a lot of hard work into this. I know it wasn't like malicious intent to put it there, but I'm like, I don't want this to be a storage. I put money into this.
Right.
Just so, like the visual of my staff taking care of a room that we all put hard work in. I don't want it to be storage room.
Well, in your muscle memories, like I remember when we were in like shutdown, and we were literally just in the heart, in the first couple of months, and we were busy because especially in the beginning, curbside was crazy because you had no other options.
Yeah.
Right. And you're busy in the kitchen, cranking, and you walk out and it's just like silence and just like it took so long, and I don't think I ever really got over it. I'm like, this just. It's so
feel-
eerie,
Yep.
just to be that busy in the kitchen
Yep.
where it feels like a regular Saturday night, and then you walk out and there's nobody there.
Yeah.
Just your front of the house running food out to cars.
It speaks to the inefficiency of what we're being made to do right now,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's what that.
Unless
that
you're
ends
Josh.
up. No, I mean,
That guy's got a machine set up.
But you didn't set your restaurant up for that. I think it just was like, hey, opportunity knocks. I'm only 20 feet from the thing.
Right.
Let's set it up here. Let's
Yeah.
put a tent. And it works
We
great.
had a lot of for us, it was things we had done in the past with no intention of this ever happening, just worked out for us. I mean, when we picked the location, because it was available and the price was right. So people were like, well, why'd you open Lucha there? And it's like, well, it seemed odd, but now we got this giant parking lot where all the business is gone at 4 p.m. It's a perfect place to do curbside.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic. And I had tents from selling food at farmers markets and stuff. Okay, let's make that work. And it was just all the pieces we kind of had in place, which made it a lot easier for us.
And some people have made it work by, Lino's. They're just.
My God.
Oh,
like,
man, they got a
built,
machine.
He has built a massive machine out there that
Yeah.
is
3-lane
just
drive-through.
cranking.
Absolutely.
Well, that was one of the
I've
questions
gotta
I
give
had
props
on-
to him
on-
for logistics. That's been our other new job. I
Yeah.
posted something the other day on Twitter where my Twitter account is totally different for the Olympic than any other. I was telling the news guys this last night. I my Twitter, for some reason, there's people in Rockford aren't like, hey, what's on special tonight on Twitter? That's not.
Yeah.
It's a way for us to like reach out to other industry people and other people
Twitter's
doing
funny.
the same thing. That's where I like it. That's where I like it, to interact with these kind of people. But I use it totally differently than all our other streams.
Well, one of the questions that that we had on kind of our talking points was, were some of the what are some of the kind of surprise successes through the, because there's so many things to talk about that went bad, but and then there's a lot of things you're like, wow, that really worked out, and we were able to get excited. Like I know for us, we remodeled the dining room at Abrio a couple of years ago so that those doors in the dining room open full capacity, and when they went to outdoor only unless you had an opening, and I was like,
Boom.
Yeah.
Lucky
yes,
me.
you know what I mean? I was like,
the-
this
the
is
windows
sweet, so like that was like holy shit, like that one just saved us for
You've done,
and
you've
really
done
helped
some
us.
remodeling. Say you walk around your empty dining room, you cry in the side room, which we all have done. But like
Yeah.
you also like you did some remodeling in the front, right? You put some new light stuff up. And
Yeah, we
painted.
We
and, like,
painted. We actually just got into the whole like remodeling, rebranding, and as it was taking a leap, and I mean it kind of stunted us. But the best thing about it is that we know we could pivot
yeah.
properly. And honestly, what surprised me of the change is I didn't know we have the capacity to like bring out food curbside that fast. We knew we were fast when reservations are there, but not like, man, we can box things up pretty quick. And
You got a tiny kitchen, man.
Right.
it's a tiny kitchen.
You
so
definitely
we-
got the smallest kitchen in
yeah.
this group.
Yeah.
we know how to use efficiency in that kitchen. So I think the first day that we all switched to goes, I think what got me a little bit with a mixture of like happiness and sadness was taking all of our plates all the way back.
They're in a separate room.
Get them out, just put them in
Put
storage.
all like to-go boxes
Yeah, it's all
in different sizes and all the quart containers. And I looked at my team like, this is us now
Yep.
for a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they were
the
like-
the Cambro shelf is so overflow. I'm like, when?
Yeah.
The last
Yeah.
time I needed
Exactly.
this many Cambros stacked.
Right. Yeah,
But yeah.
None of
like-
them are in use because barely any are in use. So you have all the stuff that's usually in rotation, like and they're all on the shelf, and you're like, there's no room in here to put anything.
We go back to like March 16th when we all sit down with all of our staffs and said, hey, most of you are being laid off.
Yeah.
And then we find a way to to get rolling again. And I remember a meeting we had in April where at first it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Yeah.
And right
Yeah.
now we're like 200 weeks to flatten the curve. I don't know. So the first 2 weeks, Manny, my chef, and I sat down and we're like, we can't keep pretending like, okay, next week we're going to go back. Like, now it's time to, this is our business model.
Yeah.
Like, as much
Yeah.
as we didn't choose this to be our business model, this is our business
This is
model
us
now.
now, yeah.
So what are we going to do? And that's when it came time to, okay, it's signage, it's lighting, it's where the cameras go, we're building shelves. I mean, all these different things to be like, if we're going to do this for who knows how long, and frankly, who knows how long,
Yeah.
Right.
This
We're
has to
still
become-
in the who knows
still
how
knows
long.
how long. You
Yeah.
know? This has to be something we can actually buckle down and do.
Yeah.
Sure.
And there's lots of changes. I mean, we've all added some sort of different version of online ordering, I believe,
Yes.
into our system.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yep.
One of the
Got it
things
ready to go.
we saw was that, we don't need to, because usually before it was, I want all dinner items to be sold between 12 and 17 minutes. Now we can play differently because frankly we've got 45 minutes.
If I
You know,
need it,
so it's
right.
like if I need it, so we can do things differently and move. We've all changed our menus. It's just
Yeah.
really strange stuff that we've done,
Yeah.
which seems so just natural now. But
Sure.
a year ago, I never would have thought of ever doing any of this stuff.
I-
Well,
I've told so
everything,
many people-
everything right now, like is, I mean, you literally wake up every day and you're like, all right, what do I got to do today? Like, how do I, how do I have to, because you know that feeling when you wake up and you don't know where you are. Like I feel like that's how I am. I wake up like, oh wait, that's right. I
You wake
can't
up
just.
random
It's
places.
not a dream. It's not a dream. It's not a dream.
It really is. Like,
still
you're like, wait
here.
a second. Did we just get another layer of mitigation?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Damn it.
No, the reason I brought up Twitter is because something I posted the other day was saying, my job has ceased being trying to figure out like a fun food special or like
Yeah.
play around in the kitchen or get behind the bar, make a cool cocktail, worry about staffing issues. Like I still have to do that, but I said my job is stop being just that and like started being like literally 100% figuring out what mitigations are being handed to us,
Yeah.
how to navigate the waters in the public eye, how to like. And then still how to do the other stuff that I need to do
Yeah.
back over here. So yeah.
Yeah, you have to do
our
everything
jobs
you
have
did
all
before,
shifted.
but keep the energy level up too, because you also got to keep your staff motivated, right? I mean, like we're dealing with
100%.
like staff who's just
100%.
on edge all the time,
Right.
and they're, they're looking up at you. They,
Yeah,
you
what
know,
do we
like,
do? Like,
what are we
They
gonna
want us
do?
to, they want us to have an answer for them, and we truly have no answer.
No,
Yeah.
No.
And we're
Because
not
the
trying
people we're
pass
supposed to
buck.
get answers from don't have answers for us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just been like you talk about
I-
worry about what mitigation is today. It's like, well, who do you want to listen to for the mitigation for today? It's been
Exactly.
an absolute mess.
Right.
I mean, I had a conversation with my sous chef the other day, and there was an accident where one of the things didn't taste right, and he was putting it out in the window. And I was like, this whole to-go thing, they don't have a chance to drive all the way back here and say, hey, this is wrong. So like,
Done
I told them like, the answer, like, we're talking about answers to your staff and questions that they're asking us, is like, well, how could I be, better at my job? We're just doing to-go food. But I'm like, that's the thing, man.
It's got to be better.
We gotta be
You gotta-
better.
There's more finesse in this than there is on a plate.
You gotta
yeah,
be more
think so.
finesse than this, because right now,
Just even how you put it in a plate, like,
Yeah.
if there's too much room in the to-go container, it's
Exactly.
going to shift around in the
that's our
packaging.
stock. I mean, that's our money. Our money right now relies on consistency.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know it's boring to make mac and cheese, man, but you
it
gotta
holds
make
up.
it the best
Yep.
mac
Yeah.
and cheese.
Yeah, like we took our
Every day.
our strip asiago or scallops. Like there's a bunch of dishes we took off the online order, like the curbside menu.
Yeah.
Because it was just like you get them home and you can just bounce those scallops off the wall,
I'm thinking
And
the
then
same
strip
thing.
asiago is like a big, congealed
Yeah.
cheese mass that
We've
you
been
have to cut
having
with
the
a
same
knife.
thing. Like the cheese curds, like I know people love them in house.
Yeah.
There's
They're just
They're
not.
just
Put 'em in a
some
to-go
food that
box,
don't
you're gonna
travel
not-
well. So like, yeah, I was just having a 30-minute conversation about how, consistency is our
brand right
biggest
now.
brand, man.
So if we had anybody had like a total failure of like a pivot failure yet?
I had a complete total failure on Cinco de Mayo. I
That's
mean,
right, you did.
right, as bad as it can possibly get, failure.
Did you launch out like that? Was that like when you launched your online or
That was the
something?
one.
You got-
Remember,
you
he
got
like he
smashed?
was
I
he was
had-
laying out in
and
front of
it's
his
like
restaurant on the
literally-
ground.
I
And a
had
Cinco de Mayo.
100 plus cars in line to pick up food.
Yeah.
Because we had the online ordering system we were using at the time.
Oh,
we'll
man,
just
I
let
remember
orders
this.
come through.
Sure.
And inside of 15 minutes, we printed a couple hundred tickets.
Yep.
Inside of 15
Jesus.
minutes. I mean, what do you? I mean,
That's
you
like
can't
that's
turn
like
this thing
things
off.
and nightmares are
happened to
made
us.
of.
You just can't
That's
turn
like
it
that
off.
sound.
that
Yeah.
happened to us.
yeah.
I jumped on the
That's
line
like the
like
nightmare of the
3
ticket
weeks ago.
machine
Yep.
just ringing and ringing
Right.
and
Yep.
ringing.
It printed for several minutes straight, like never stopped printing. We had to change paper. A whole thing of paper went through into the next one, just kept printing.
Oh
and
my
like
God.
I'm literally
Stack 'em
out on
up.
Alpine,
Stack 'em up
handing
over
out
here.
coupons to people a quarter mile from my restaurant that are in line, saying your food's going to take a really long
Oh
time.
my God.
And that was basically based off of the online ordering system we had at the time. Just wasn't prepared for that sort of situation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we made
sure.
a huge pivot 2 weeks later, and we actually had a conversation last night. If Cinco were next week, what would we be doing differently? And now we know exactly what we'd be doing. We know what to do to not make that happen again. Sure.
Well, and I know what I loved is your response to it was gold. I remember,
it's honest.
and I mean that's what we have to do right in this industry. I mean, you can't hide behind anything, right? You just got to be out there
Heard
and
her,
talk
heard
it.
her.
Yeah, try that one.
Yeah, I'll
Pour
take a
me some.
refill. I'll take a refill.
Yeah, but one
Yeah,
thing
you
that's
gotta
been
own
amazing
your-
about all that is how great our guests have been.
Yeah.
Because I mean, people were waiting 2 hours for tacos. Now I like our food, but it's not 2 hour
Yeah,
wait food. It's that's just silly. And
At least they
honestly,
were in their car and not
They were in
standing
their
out in the
Yeah.
in the street.
But the amount of complaints I got from that night, I could really count on one hand. I mean, it was just people just truly being gracious to us.
So that 100% describes, I think most of the public out there. It goes back to like this. Our business is people, right? Like I would say,
Yeah.
most of the time in normal pre-COVID time, like what is it? 80% of your business comes from 20% of your people, kind of thing.
Yep.
Your regulars that are there day in day out, or every couple days to stop in after work, or on Fridays with the gals from work or whatever. I don't think that's changed at all. I think that's probably gone to like 95% of our business is those same people. The people whose names we've known that are, everyone that walks in the door, we know someone by their first name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some form of regular, your regular customers. I think it's been probably really difficult to obtain new customers at this point, unless they're to go, where it's like easy to opt into that instead of like going somewhere.
Yeah,
when,
but
when
I
you're
think
unsure
all
on
of our
can you go
customers have their
somewhere.
circle of restaurants they're supporting.
Yeah.
And even
they
hear from
do.
guests, they've picked 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And this is their little network, and they're going to focus on those 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting a new customer, I'm sure, is terribly hard right now.
It is because the loyalty. Everybody's really holding on to their loyalties
Yeah.
because they want their restaurant to be there
Right.
whenever this
I mean,
is
dude,
over.
that leads in. I use my personal Facebook page. I don't post very much on my Facebook page. I use it pretty much for business. I don't really want
I know you like dancing kitties.
people looking into my private life of
Right.
things, right?
Yeah.
I'm not into it. Like so, but I I'm starting to sharpen my tongue online and start to use it for whatever I need to use it for right now. And I posted something that says, while we all like so appreciate our guests out there, like you have no idea how much we appreciate the support that you guys are showing us. This has all been a crazy year for us, and I feel like they shouldn't have the burden put on them to subsidize our business.
Sure,
Like,
absolutely.
the restrictions that have been handed down, I get it. We've all bent over backwards to like benefit the public good, like everyone, like not just us four. There's a lot of other places out there that are doing what they're supposed to be doing the best they can. And I said it's not the public's job to have to subsidize this time in our life. And so while we appreciate the extra carry out order a week or whatever, like we do because we miss you guys. Like you can't be the solution to this. I don't think.
Yeah, we can't expect them to come in every day and be
They
tipping
haven't had a good year.
100%.
Regular Joe has not had a good year this year either. And again, it's the responsibility is being like put on the general public. And I don't think it should be.
Yeah.
It's unfair.
The government really has a long way to go to kind of step up and I think make good the mitigations they've handed down to us. And
But the business
That's
model doesn't
happening
work
again.
anymore. It just, I mean, as much as we can do good sales in to-go, or we can do good sales with the few tables that we have, your restaurant seats 100 people. Putting 25 people in there, you still have to heat the whole restaurant.
I would have bought a shack that could hold 2 people with a fryer and a grill if I
Right.
wanted to do to-go only. That was low rent.
Right.
Yeah.
That was nothing like.
But the rent doesn't go down to 25% capacity. The gas bill doesn't. The electric bill doesn't. The insurance
Water
doesn't.
bill.
The water. None of those things change. But luckily we've got great guests that are kind of propping us up. But how long?
Well,
does that
there's all these conversations about deferring too, and it's like, don't just
Deferring's just
stockpile
kicking
my,
the can.
just don't,
Just
please. I don't want to come out of this and then be like, oh shit,
Yeah,
look at that
yeah.
I'd
pile.
actually rather
Like,
pay it now. I'd rather
Yeah.
figure it out now.
I'd rather
I,
figure-
I have
that's
been
the
trying to
thing,
keep
that was-
all my bills.
Yeah.
That was a big motivation for me to make sure that we're good on labor cost, our food cost is on point. It all plays into how you're going to survive this. Like with us, as soon as this happened, I was scared. I've never owned a restaurant. Yeah,
How long have you owned Octane now?
A year and 2 months.
So how long had you owned it when this started? 5 months then?
7.
7 months.
Seven.
Now
when it
you've
started.
been head chef there for
8 years.
many years.
8 years.
Right?
Yeah, and I've
So you have history
seen
with the company, but
I have, yeah.
But being
So
at the
I
wheel is a
knew
lot different.
what our inventory was, but obviously I can't control a lot of the aspects because I don't own it. So I was scared. I'm like, if this is going to turn out exactly how they ran some of the inventory, then I'll be in trouble because obviously it's different. Dan and Michelle ran a tight business on their own way and they could afford it because they have the means to do it. I don't. I was washing dishes there.
Right.
2002. So I feel like I had no place and no right to run a restaurant or like, even own one. So in just a gut instinct, my first order of business was obviously cut labor, and then keep a close eye on inventory. And I'm like, whoever wants to work for $10 an hour can stay. And they're like, we're with you on this because we want a restaurant to come back to. I'm like, well, we're in business now.
Isn't that amazing? What so much of our staff is just like taking it on the chin for us.
yeah.
I mean, like, I think
One of
you
the
know.
questions you have is like, what's one of the good things that's come out of this whole ordeal?
Yeah.
I think obviously we can all say like learning to run on like lean efficiency.
Lean, and that's
Like
what I
me
learned.
thinking of the actual like dollar amount of the inventory of beer that I used to keep in the basement with 28 beers on tap, and like,
You had
That was
thousands,
sick-
you had
that was-
thousands down there.
Yeah.
and I'm just thinking like I've never had to think about it that way
Right.
because it was just always fixed up operating costs. It's always there. I always have to have it,
Yeah.
but now I don't. I can't afford it. I can't have 28 beers on tap if no one's allowed to drink.
Right.
So. One of the other things has been like the fact that our staffs have been able to like multitask and
And learn
jump
new
in
things,
whatever.
yeah.
People are like, put me wherever you need to put me right
Yeah.
now.
Oh, dude.
I
I mean,
the
the people.
volunteer to wash dishes.
They
Yeah.
want to keep the ship
For free.
afloat. My dishwasher usually never came out front of house. Now they're the busser. They're helping fill condiments. They're rolling silver if they have to. Like everyone's all hands on deck. So it's great to kind of see everyone start to really work as a team.
Yeah.
Well,
as a
it's been nice
necessity.
because people have picked each other up too. Because like, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like, I know a lot of my staff. Like there were some people that wanted to kind of dial back a little bit, just because obviously they're scared, and it's gone through stages now. We're 8 months into this,
And
but
a lot of them, hey, I have a day job.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
Give the
like
hours to
give
somebody
the hours
else.
to somebody else. I've
Yeah,
heard
that
that
has
a
been like
million
the-
times. Yeah.
awesome, we will call you when we
Right.
need you. Thank you so much to make this easier
Yeah.
for us to see.
They've
how
really-
do
they
we,
really
how
have.
do
I
we dole
mean-
out the limited number of shifts that I'm going to do to make this fair and equitable for everyone to come in and have a day that they can take home some money. Like,
Because I don't think, I don't know that anybody understands how much, I guess, energy we put into our staff schedules. Like,
yeah,
it's not like we're just always trying. I mean, we have numbers we have to keep
Right.
the business open, but we want to give everybody their time off, but we also need to keep people working.
And what happens
I mean,
if
for
someone
me,
gets
I was
sick
kind of
or-
like, the first thing I thought of when we got into shutdown was like, how can I create something else to get more jobs back, or to, what I mean, to keep, and I think there's always that element of like, I'll keep putting something out there if there's somebody that wants to shift.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care. We'll go into the watermelon business if we need to. I mean,
Sorry.
like, I don't know, like whatever it takes.
we did
you
deep cleans of the restaurant.
Yeah.
I kept all my dish guys. I'm like, hey man, I don't know how much
Yeah.
longer I can do this, but everyone come in for a couple
I
hours.
had I had one of my servers redo the hardwood floors in the dining room,
Right.
and at social, it was like, I'm like, who's got other skills? Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what else could you do?
And
Like,
Beat painted the restaurant
Yeah.
inside. He's like, well,
because you
there's
guys did
nothing
the,
else.
or we did the floors right before shutdown.
We did the
didn't
floors before the shutdown, and then he's like he used to work with Josh, so he knew his way around painting. So I was like, I'll paint the hallway and the inside. I'm like, well, we have time to do that. Let's do that.
we? So you had a good question that you posted. I think you said like what are we doing to kind of get out of this? Like, what do you do for your mental health, right? Because
relieve the stress of the day to day, because, I mean, it's already stressful to own a restaurant on the regular
Right.
Yeah.
year, let alone what we have to do now. So I posted that question on Paul's list. I'm like, because you got to have some self care. The thing I learned about all of this is that self care is the number one thing that you should be doing, because without you, because you're your own product.
Right.
You're the reason that Lucha
We're the
exists, Rio exists, Olympic exists.
Sure.
Without you guys, there's no business. So like, how do you, take care of yourself outside
Right.
of?
so what do you start doing?
Yeah.
You started drawing, didn't you?
Well, yeah. So I'm slightly, I don't know if you call it hyper, ADD or whatever, but I like having my hands in all different sorts of of media. So I dove into woodworking. I went back to illustrating, because I've set that aside in a long time, and I started playing drums again.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm just gonna channel my 15-year-old self, minus the woodworking, because I didn't know what I was doing. But like, I'm gonna
Wouldn't
channel
have as
that
many
kid,
fingers.
because that was the last time I was happy. I was 15. I had no fucking responsibilities, and that still up to this day calms me down. And I play video games. And I'm a huge nerd, so that's what's
Huge.
keeping me. That's what's keeping me sane.
Yeah.
And I take that energy and I go back to work, which, I hate saying the word autopilot, but at this point we know what we're doing already. So I just go in there, do my best, and then go back home and excited about, all that other media that I'm into.
I failed at getting new hobbies. This sounds awful. My hobby is work. Like, I default to work mode. Like, on a day off, it's hard for me to sit there and not literally go to work.
I wake up earlier on Sundays than I do any other day of the
Absolutely.
week.
I was up at 6
I was
this
up at
morning.
7
this morning.
I was like, what the hell am I
Sunday,
doing up?
I cannot sleep in for some reason.
So like literally like my hobby was making ranchero. It was making a new business.
Sure.
It's finding something else to do.
Yeah.
Now I wish I had done more healthy things for me, but it seems like such a there's lots of eyes on us right now.
Yeah.
So like I've got the staff. I have to do it right by my staff. I have to keep this restaurant here for my staff because, as we said when we shut down, we're shutting down. A lot of you have to go away. The goal is when this is over to be here for you guys to come back. Yeah. And granted that staff is a lot of them changed. A lot of them have gotten new jobs in other industries, which is great and all.
Yeah.
But we got the staff we're working for. I've also got like this is what I have. If Lucha doesn't work out it's not like I'm like, oh, well, you know, good thing my dad was rich.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this is
Yeah.
this is my skill set, and unless I want to go back and work at a corporate restaurant,
Well,
I
that
gotta
kind of
make
goes
this
back
work.
into the conversation of, you know, what do they call the essential workers, right?
Right.
Like, you know, and they divided us all in the beginning,
Sure.
like essential, non-essential. Well, I'm essential to my family.
Right.
And
Exactly.
to my staff's family, right? Like, so if I'm not producing, they're not producing,
Right.
and
Exactly,
that's
yeah.
that's a problem.
And that's
right?
how I saw it. Where
But you need to get a hobby.
yeah, like
Yeah,
these
you
You need
things.
to get a hobby.
These things I do.
You got a bike? You went to Kegels and bought a bike or
I
something,
used
didn't
to
you?
ride all the time, and then this
There you
year
go.
it truly fell away.
I know. I used to run, 2-3 times a week, and
I used to run too.
I know. I used to.
Now I
do,
just
like,
run to the
after work
refrigerator and
rides?
grab some food.
used to also run.
We did
yeah.
some late night rides, like after the shift was over. It was like me and my chef and Drake,
sure.
our bar manager.
Yeah,
We'd
that's
all go
cool.
for rides. Those were a blast.
Yeah.
But it's just
Lately,
Man,
it's tough
it's
when you
tou-
come
it's
home
tough.
at 10:15. It's like,
How about you? You got a stress reliever?
yeah, a couple, I've tried a few
Whiskey?
different things. I've tried to actually
Who doesn't?
limit. No,
That's
honestly,
my
I've
morning
limited-
drink.
I've really tried to limit like at home alcohol consumption after work. Like
Yeah.
that is something I've consciously this year
Yeah,
tried
yeah,
to
I
do.
don't
Not
do
just
that.
because of the not running,
Sure.
Sure.
but also because of the mental health thing where I'm just like, just don't lean on that.
Yeah, because
like,
I can go into some deep thoughts.
Oh, yeah,
and-
for
and
sure, for
Dark
sure.
places.
So, I haven't played frisbee golf for about 5 years. I found a target at my folks' house and I put it up in my backyard. So a lot since June, July, as we came back online, like that's what I would do when I would come home. I'd grab one beer, go outside, and throw 25, 50, 100
You got
putts.
into planting, man. Like
Just putt.
The peppers.
Oh,
and-
okay. So we
yeah.
also have a garden down the
Yeah.
street from the Olympic. We've got my dad's got a warehouse that he bought in the neighborhood a while back. We use it for storing our patio furniture. There's also like a 60 by 80 garden there that my
You got
little-
room for a boat?
Dude.
Probably.
there you go.
Yeah,
Talk to you about it later.
With
It's
the
expensive
RV.
rental. It's expensive rental property. So
I'll give you
we,
lots of gift certificates.
But honestly, I'm fine. Yeah. Honestly, like in the middle of summer, the Olympic does not buy tomatoes. Like tomatoes just come from the garden, and I put that on our menu, and I'm like, look, we're only doing a BLT while we have the tomatoes from our garden.
Yeah.
Like we can't be a full farm to table restaurant.
Tomato
Our
is like one of the
scale-
only ingredients. Tomatoes and strawberries. There's a few others, but tomatoes and strawberries are like two of the only ingredients that I will never buy out of season. Like,
Yeah, you
like,
really
oh, yeah.
shouldn't.
just for I think because it's such a difference.
So different.
It
so
is.
so I
And
put a lot of
carbs,
time
too.
there in the garden. Not as much as I have in previous years, unfortunately. But we've kind of figured out what works and what doesn't work over there. I kind of want to talk to someone at like Harrison or get Yaya or someone over there and look at it for me and say, what do I need to do next year?
Right.
So no, I did a lot of gardening, did a little frisbee golf, go for a bike ride or a run when you can. Started playing guitar. I played bass with my little brother the other night, so maybe start doing that some more. But
Cool.
I mean,
Feels good.
those are definitely important things. My girlfriend bought me a kiln. And
Cool, man.
and
you guys do
pottery
the
wheel.
ghost thing?
We haven't. I used to do it in college.
Because I want to see
Oh,
that
yeah,
video.
that's right. I saw you doing that.
I got pretty good
That's
at it in
pretty good.
college,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's something that she's like. I was at a garage sale. I found a whole setup. I'm like, awesome. It was
making ashtrays?
for my birthday. So in the back of Dad's warehouse, I'm gonna set up a little studio. And,
Nice.
and
So
if
you
the
can
whole-
make plates for us?
If the
then?
whole restaurant thing doesn't
Maybe we
work
can all
out,
do a ghost thing.
Yeah.
if the whole restaurant thing doesn't work out, I guess I can make you guys play.
There we go.
There you go.
Love it.
That'd be sweet.
I've been
And you're
fishing.
fishing. You're
I've been
fishing a lot.
fishing.
Yeah.
My fishing.
that's
I
right.
found my Zen thing because I found fishing. Like I grew up as a kid fishing, and then for whatever career mode, whatever. All I did was food and think about food for 20 years, and then I got into fishing. Karen and I went on a little bed and breakfast trip in Michigan several years ago, and we for some reason my car was broke, so we took my dad's, and he had fishing poles in the back, and we stayed at this Airbnb that had a little pond. And so we just grabbed the fishing poles. We went fishing. I caught a fish. I was like, wow, it was fun. I forgot how cool that was. And ever since then, because I'm super ADD, always have been. You know what I mean?
we
I'm just
probably all
like-
are.
think
Yeah,
we all
I
are.
think we're in the
I think
restaurant
anyone who
industry.
owns a restaurant or
Has to
works
be a
maybe
little-
in
It's
the
an
restaurant
asset.
industry,
Yeah.
has to have a
And so I went fishing, and I realized that like there was enough action to keep me intrigued, but I could do it by myself and
Yeah.
like with nothing else going on, and I could totally dial into it and just totally, like I literally think about nothing when I fish.
That's
Like,
meditation right
like-
there, man.
And like it's totally like I couldn't do yoga or meditation or like planned
sure.
like thought, but when I fish, I'm like literally just thinking about like catching the fish.
Yeah.
And
It's
it
nice
doesn't
to
take
have
a whole
some-
lot of thought.
Got to turn the brain off sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's why I think running or long distance like cycling or even playing music.
Long distance cycling is so
when
awesome.
when you're
I bet video games. I bet
Oh,
you're
yeah.
just
To a point, you're turning off like the radar. I came home a month ago and told my girl after one other crazy day, whatever the hell happened this summer, something happened. I came home and I'm like, it's 10:30. I'm like, I love you, babe, but I'm like, I need 45 minutes by myself. I'm like, I'm gonna go out on the patio. I grabbed my Nintendo Switch.
Yep.
I loaded up my little puzzle game and I grabbed a beer and I just sat down. I'm like, I need no music, no people talking to me. And she's like, so cool that she's like, hey, go,
That's the idea.
Speaking of that, like,
tomorrow night, make sure we have date night.
Paul and I were talking about it on the phone, and I think the same day it happened where, I just went, I was going to get something and they were closed, so I just drove. I drove nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I just did that too. I'm like, it's so comforting.
How many times have you drove home from work and realized that you didn't have anything on the radio or anything, like total silence?
Yeah.
And you get home, you're like,
What the heck?
Which you normally would never do. Which you normally would never do.
Yeah.
Like play up NPR.
but your head
or
is
whatever.
so full, and you're just like,
Yeah.
like sometimes
For sure.
it just gets overwhelming, right? Like, so how close has anybody got to being like, I'm done?
Throw in the towel?
I've gotten really close lots of times, and I'm not saying like
Like Doritos, shorts,
I would say
clothes?
more mentally. That was a rough one. I was having a rough day. I would say more mentally, just like done. I remember one day I had to run to Valley and pick up something.
Yeah.
And I got there. I don't know if I picked some Wahio peppers or something. And I went back out, and it was sitting. I turned the car on, and I literally sat in the car, in silence for a good half hour or so. I just sat there. I was just like, I am like I have given all I have to give.
Yeah.
At some point, something's got to give,
Sure.
And then I mean we've all found ways to hit that wall, and then to be like,
Push
okay,
through it. Yeah.
go through it,
Give yourself
calm
10
down
minutes,
a second,
10-minute
give yourself a
break,
few minutes,
reassess, 10-minute break.
and then get back at it. But
Yeah.
the thing that sits in my head right now, it literally is my biggest fear is what's next. Like I am scared to death, honestly, of next summer, because I think
Right.
next summer there's going to be a wedding every day. There's going to be a concert every day.
We're
There's
literally
something every
booked every
day.
day.
And you're booked every day for weddings. And then there's going to be people aren't going to need to go out to eat. Now that maybe we can have them in then, they're going to be so booked. So it's like the challenges that we're going through now are going to lead to more challenges in the future.
What scale will I have to be operating at
Right.
that point? Like, that we were talking about this earlier.
Well, and how much of our staff are going to be out of this industry? I mean,
Yeah.
it was already hard
That's
to
my
find
problem right
staff
now.
before
Well, so many.
before COVID. Now, like, would you be
Wanna go
excited
back
about
to
a
this
career
industry?
in the
No.
restaurant industry right now?
No,
No, unless you're a masochist. I don't know.
no, nobody
I
wants
mean,
to.
you've just got to be just kind of masochistic. And
Listen, we all already were. Like,
yeah.
we all already were, and a lot of those people always will be. So like we will
Yeah.
have lifers, we will have people, but
there's
I
enough
totally,
freaks in the world.
I totally, yeah. We are all some sort of
That's
crazy.
what we're hoping
Like,
for.
I opened this interview up saying I was the only one crazy enough in my family to do this. But yeah, one of the hard things that you guys referred earlier was the most difficult thing I think for us was learning how to run a restaurant at a small size.
Right.
Like turning what we normally do at scale and trying to dial the inventory back so you're not throwing away food at the end of the week.
Like you were a big help in the beginning. Like when you reached out to us, hey, there's some produce that needs to be used. And I was like, dude, I don't have to buy new tomatoes, and
That was what,
awesome.
right at the end of March, when we had tried to
Yeah.
do carry out for a couple of weeks, and we had said at that point everything's too uncertain.
Yeah, because you shut down for
2 months.
From March till
till
whenever-
outdoor.
whenever they say you
Till
can do outdoor
outdoor.
dining again.
Okay, so-
till June.
Yeah.
June, early June.
June 20.
You never stopped.
We did to go the whole time.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny is I was driving over here today thinking about things for us to talk about was the day that we were all, I remember the text thread. We were all excited on June 26th. We're all I'll text you, hey, good luck tonight.
Oh,
Tonight's
yeah.
going to be the night because we could get customers back inside.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden it was, were you busy tonight? Because we were.
No. Right.
And that's one of my concerns right now. So we've got limited seating.
The next year
What's next
question.
year?
What is
You
next year
know?
going to look like? How many people are going to be out there that are just permanently scared away for a while, for a long time?
Or
We
they've
don't
learned
know.
that they can just eat happily at home and get to go from places.
Sure.
A
Consumer
lot of
habits.
things are going to be played, but I mean, also part of what's going to play into that is going to be there's going to be less restaurants, right?
Yeah.
So the concentration of competition is going to be different as
Right.
well.
Sure.
God, I don't know. I mean, that's one of the
none of us do.
one of the
None of us
questions,
have
right?
any
That's
idea.
always
The
looming
biggest one.
deep is is there ever normal again?
Right.
I mean, is that even a thing? And then if we do come back to, full capacity, well, when is that? I mean, really, when is it?
If they did
And
that
if you're in
tomorrow,
Florida, it's today.
if they said tomorrow,
Which is
6 months
crazy.
from now, next year, that Corona's gone, everything's fine, we have a vaccine or not, or what, it's just gone, like whatever. What percentage of people are still just like, I don't know, I don't know who to listen to anymore?
Yeah,
That's
when's
the-
the media
that's-
going to be
that's
like,
the
oh, there's
uncertainty.
a new virus on the lurking because
So on top of all the things that we've had to do and navigate and try to figure out and try how to figure out a pivot, at some point it's like, well, who knows what the actual percentage of people that are left that want to come out to buy a beer at the bar and sit down and say hi to their favorite server and say hi to the crew, and when are they coming back? So nobody knows. We don't. And
It's a very tough question to answer because it's just
go to a sunny question. Go to the fun question. That's a
fun
sad
question.
question.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Should do a fun and then a.
Maybe we should
Yeah.
all come up with something for Josh to do.
Let's find Josh a hobby.
yeah,
Why
let's
not?
find
What do
Josh
you
a
mean, like
hobby.
making
Let's
like
start-
model
you-
cars?
You take him fishing one week. I'll have him.
I definitely
You're
want to
gonna
take you.
babysit Josh?
We definitely need to do a fishing trip. We could do that. I got a nice couple places we can go and,
Sure.
and chill out and
Yeah.
do that. Let's see, a funniest moment. I mean, everybody's got to have kind of a funniest moment through this whole time where something either went terribly wrong. I'll start. My funniest moment happened last night. I slammed my finger.
That one right there.
This finger right here into
I could not watch that video.
into the oven door. I sent you guys a video. And so, I came back to the restaurant and it was hurting, it was throbbing, it was killing me. And the nail was full of blood. And my server's like, yeah, man, you got a drill press? You just drill it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like,
painful.
yeah, you just drill it. And I'm like, yeah, well, okay. And then he's like, or you can just pop a hole in it with a knife. And so I was like, dude, I can't do it. So I'm like holding it out, you know, and he's like, he's got a knife and he's like trying to, twist it and and I'm like,
No.
dude, it's killing me.
Paper clip on the burner on the stove.
Yeah.
Get it red hot. It goes right through like this.
Really?
Yeah.
So I got a
I
drill.
wish you would have known that last night.
Although the drill was nice
call
because
Zach,
it was
dude.
a brand new
Your
bit.
hand jerked at the end. That's when I stopped watching.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Well,
not-
because it did it
also
like
hurts.
pop
I'm
right
cool
through.
with blood, but I was like,
Yeah.
what are you?
I don't know if that's
thought at
funny,
first-
but that's a.
Well, it was
a
funny
good-
because
good
like
story
like
from
we
that.
were the whole staff was just
You're on
kind
the
of
line, you
like
gotta fix
this is entertaining and it took everybody's mind off the fact that
Sure.
life is
yeah.
shit sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know, like funny thing.
I'm trying to think of funny from the last
Yeah.
couple months.
You know,
man, and
for
I don't
us-
have a
Try
lot
to
of
s-
funny.
the for us it seemed like, because I mean obviously we were heavy curbside, and our curbside operation involved us running out to cars and back and forth because we weren't even letting guests in the building at all. And I swear in the month of May, every single day it rained from 4 to 8 p.m. It would be nice all day long, and at in between 4 and 8, we would get some sort of weather. And in those first 2 months, like Drake and I were literally laughing because, like inside our restaurant, we have racks in there because nobody was coming in, and we had like our rain suits hanging there, and next to our rain suits were like our winter jackets. And then we also each had like a pair of shorts because who knows what the weather was going to be every single day, and like literally.
When you guys are out there with smoke machines and lights, and I drove by there last night and it looked like a rave. I was like, all right.
Did you have?
We have not got. We need a smoke machine for next weekend. So.
I got one for you.
Awesome. Because
And it's got a remote control so you can set it
Trick or
off.
tequila next weekend.
What?
Trick or tequila next weekend for
Perfect.
Halloween. It's gonna be fun.
Perfect.
Love watching.
Yeah, but
that.
it's been like literally just, like Drake and I in like pouring rain. So when you're running into a car, the water's like over your shoes in the parking lot, and it was just funny to us. Like we were like fighting for our lives, getting just like there's a tornado that came literally 200 yards from my restaurant
For sure.
while we're
Yeah.
serving to go.
Yeah.
We just kept doing it out of our stupid little
you
tent.
really?
Absolutely, we did.
I remember when that happened. Yeah.
and all through that, like branches are flying down. It's like it was just that was funny to us.
Okay,
that
for sure.
What is going on in our world that we're out here selling tacos
Yeah.
during a tornado? This is insane.
It's like it's hard to think about funny things. I mean, the closest one I could think about is 2 weeks ago when I bought a $150 tent, and,
You told me about this.
and
How
I
many
was
hours did that
excited.
last?
As we were putting it up, like 10 minutes into it,
This
Is
might
it-
explain
this-
owning a restaurant in 2020.
the
Right here.
quickest $150 I've ever spent and put in the garbage. was that day. We were putting it up, and Sean and I had it on all like 8 poles, and we just went and grabbed something, and just a gust of wind out of nowhere went underneath, put it up on the side of Trek building, got snagged in there, broke.
I just
And
wish
then
we had that.
the
video.
middle,
Oh my God.
and the middle of the tent broke, and I just lost it, and I just crumpled it and
This is
put
so
straight in the
2020.
garbage. So basically, that's been my year. I seriously have never spent that much money so quick and put it in the garbage.
I probably have. I don't know.
You probably.
I've done that a lot.
I probably
That's
terrible
one of
money.
my first big. I was excited. I'm like, we're gonna have a tent.
The only thing funny I can think of is like the ability of like my staff to find the humor in like the grumpiest of people from the last.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And look, I think all restaurant owners will concede that like we screw up a lot.
We're
you
not
know?
perfect.
Sure,
We're not
yeah.
perfect. Like we appreciate the opportunity to make it right to you,
Right.
to fix on our, to improve on our shortcomings and to fix the errors that we do. So do. So like some of the, especially when the mask mandates first started, coming down, the level of grief that our hosts had to take.
Oh,
Taking beating from
brutal.
So again, and maybe come back to like the really good things that have come out of this whole ordeal is the ability of us to empower our staff to stand up and say,
Oh, yeah.
well, here's the house rules.
Yeah.
Right.
While this is a public business, this is a privately owned business.
Right.
And here's the house rules. And this is how this goes. And whatever happens, you're not allowed to be rude to staff.
Right.
Like we are, they don't make the rules that I have to hand
I've
out
got
to them.
tolerance for a lot of things. Being rude to my staff is not on that list.
I think
Yeah.
we would all. I think all restaurant owners out there are
Yeah.
going to agree with that. Like, not tolerated. So
They should be. If
So
they're
the
not,
funniest
they
things
should
have
be.
been putting some of these people on blast and saying, okay, if you're going to give a host that's making $10-12 an hour or something in Illinois, and with an uncertain future in the restaurant business of who knows what your hours look like next week.
Yeah, if
hard
you're a
time
real
on this.
manly man who's
Right.
berating my 18-year-old.
If you didn't see the 20 signs on the way in that say like this is the
Like
deal,
designated mask area.
Right.
Yeah.
like I so respect our staff and our ability to like find humor in that.
I mean, that's-
right. And
all
like
of
to
our
be
funny
like
things involve
to,
pain.
Yeah.
to shake it off.
exactly.
I
Okay, back
my
to being a
tent's up against the
masochist.
building. I had to drill a hole in my finger. My staff was getting beat up by customers, and I had to serve food in a
So-
tornado. This is awesome.
So we gave very political. We gave
Yeah,
very
so nothing
political.
funny happened.
We gave very
Nothing
political
really,
answers
no.
to that question of like, what's the funniest thing, and none of us answered that question.
Right.
Yeah,
None of us
I mean,
answered that
like,
question.
to a point where it's been everybody's on the edge so much that obviously the team comes first, and when a rude customer comes in, I'm already stressed because I'm like, my job is to stand up for my guys, right? And to a point where I literally yank somebody out of the restaurant. I found myself in that place where I was so angry with people.
Yeah, don't mess with a restaurant owner right now.
Like,
I got a lot of
seriously.
built up
we're
angst.
wound kind of tight.
Seriously, I never knew how angry I was until that day where one of the guys were, giving a shit about masks and pulled his mask and making fun of one of my guys, and I literally lost it. I grabbed this dude and dragged him like a suitcase in the vestibule. And my
Was he 5?
he was like,
I don't know.
I didn't know I was that strong, honestly.
Hey, P.S. This is not an official recantation of the events that happened in this episode. This is a fabrication and possible,
Right.
exaggeration.
None of the names used are real.
None of the
Yeah,
names used
It's
are
like
exactly.
the
real.
beginning of Law and Order
That
right
could
now.
not be held liable for any content herein.
We were so
That guy's watching.
Right.
we were so busy
Oh my God, it's
on the
funny.
patio, and that's where I realized I'm like, this is where we're at.
Right.
As I was holding this guy on his shirt.
Yeah, how did we get here?
Right.
And I was like, how did we get here?
No.
And I'm like, I gotta tone this. I gotta let this guy go. So I let him go, and I'm like, at that point, like, I gotta really tone it down. I gotta center myself, because if not, I'll be that guy.
Start smoking. Go back to smoking or something. I don't know.
No.
One of the questions I get asked most, and I work curbside, so I see literally half our guests face to face. And one of the questions I get asked most is, "Are you guys gonna make it?
Yeah.
I hear that 50 times a night.
Yeah.
And what can I do to help?
Yeah.
Sure.
What's the answer to that question?
Just I mean, for me, it's just keep coming. Whatever, and tell us. I mean, for me, like I've kind of put it out there, like what can Abrio do to make your world better? Because you're also living through this shitty ass year. Like so, it's not just this isn't a pity party for us. I mean,
Right.
we're just
We're here with
living a
you.
unique
We're
life.
with you.
Right?
We're with you on this. Like, what
we're
can we do?
partners.
Yeah,
Right.
so what can we provide? How can we do our core job of what we do is to provide an experience.
Yeah.
And we all do that. I mean, we provide an experience. Yours is beer centric, right? That's
Sure.
like a big part of
Sure.
yours. Your neighborhood bar, you got 75
Yeah.
years of living.
Amazing.
Your new kid
love
on the
that.
block. You're busting out ramen and bows, and you've got this thing. And you're obviously putting out this amazing product in boxes like nobody else in town, and so everybody's got a thing that they're doing, but we need the guests to also support that, but then also be like, hey man, I would love to see this, I'd love to see that,
Right.
Feedback would be
and
great.
how
Sure.
we can make the experience, not knowing that we can't do everything.
Exactly.
We all want feedback. I've always
Yeah,
put
feedback's great.
short of putting the thing on with your tab that's like, hey, 1 to 5, whatever. Like we all want feedback. We want negative, positive. I need to know where I'm screwing up. I can't sit at the table. I can't hit every table every night. We all try and walk around and say, how's everything?
Yeah.
You guys good? Awesome.
And not pity.
Service
That's the
great.
thing too. Like, I never intended a Facebook rant that I did to be pity, and I made it clear.
Which one?
The latest one. The latest one.
It's hard.
So I just wanted to get my feelings across, and I at some point I had to respond to a friend of mine. I'm like, I am in no way asking for a GoFundMe. I know
Right.
we're smart enough, and we're on our wits
Yeah.
to survive this. I just wanted you guys to know the guts of what's going on. And as far as I'm concerned, everybody in my position is feeling the same way. They can't speak.
I think we've all done
we
some
need
forward
we just want a conscious effort of and we've had this conversation with people about supporting local. What does that mean? And and of course there's people out there. There's local people out there that work in chain restaurants, and we're not
For sure.
saying that
Those
we
count
want
too.
anything to
Away from
harm
them.
you.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's the point is there's a company that's founded and created in Rockford.
Right.
And there's a company that's founded and created somewhere else that just has a place in Rockford.
Yeah.
And if that place wasn't there, those employees would be working at a Rockford place. So, but we're not wishing harm and chains. And
No,
all that.
I think there's a pretty good idea of unity in the restaurant industry,
Yeah.
from chains to independence.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any
Just
animosity in those
support.
groups,
Just support.
Yeah.
And like we said earlier, people have already kind of picked their
restaurant
3 or
to
4
circle out.
places.
yeah,
And
sure.
and I don't want pity. I don't want you ordering food. If you're not feeling like you want to eat, Abrio food today, I don't want you to eat it.
Yeah.
But go to Octane, go to Olympic,
Right.
go to Lucha. Just don't get lazy and stop at McDonald's.
Right.
yeah.
And that hurt. At Christmas time, right? Everybody wants to sit home and just order everything from Amazon. Don't.
For sure.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I was gonna
get
say,
out. Go
go to the hardware
Go to
store.
Culture Shock.
Go to
you
Nicholson Hardware.
Go to Norwegian because
Absolutely.
they're going to be a shop soon. You know what
so
I mean?
cool.
And that's but it takes work because it's real easy to
really
sit
easy to
there and
order.
I'm
I
going
have-
to the
I have-
bathroom. I'm going to order myself a new.
I tried to eliminate my Amazon buying last year. I'm not saying I haven't used it for certain things that I'm like,
Oh,
hey, at the
it's
restaurant, I
hard.
need
It's
growler
hard.
caps tomorrow.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna order them. But I have really tried to tone all that down
Yeah.
and say when I need something, I'm gonna go to Ace Hardware
Yeah.
at Highcrest,
Right.
or I'm gonna
Yeah.
go to Nicholson, or I try to
Nephew
really
works at Ace.
say I need to change my buying habits because my dollar matters. It's my vote every day, right?
That's
It's
one of
the
the
vote
first
to support
yeah,
local places.
It's one of the first thing I've learned from him when I was.
If other
at
people
Sioux.
can do that for us, then I can do that.
Right.
Exactly. He's like the money. Paul said this a long time ago. He probably doesn't remember now because it was 2007. But this one stuck with me. He's like, the money stays in town when you buy something locally. He's like, it doesn't go to, Atlanta on a base somewhere else. It stays in town. that
All of
money,
it.
yeah, all of it. And that's that made an impression on me when I took over Octane. I'm like, we're going to buy as much local as we could, you know, in reason, and keep the money in town, and keep the farmers working, keep the stores.
I think
working.
you've done a really good job of that and helping promote that and saying, look, I can't do the whole restaurant. And I am increasingly trying to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
What little things can we do at scale
Exactly.
and still work with a small guy,
Yeah.
right? And pay $1 or $2 more every
Yeah,
week.
I mean,
where we're
there's,
like,
there's give and take. I mean, it's not like there's not a perfect system, man.
Right.
Like
No.
you can't, you know,
I
some
can't get my
models work
avocados
better.
locally.
Yeah,
Like you're gonna be better at doing, yeah. I mean, you're gonna be better at doing curbside. I'm gonna be worse at doing curbside. I'm gonna be better at farm to table. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So
I want to stay on the what do you want to see thing. I want to say, can we stay on the what do you want to see thing? Like from customers, from government, like what do you want to see moving forward? Like that's a
Moving forward with this whole thing. in
yeah,
general,
like what like
Well, I mean, I want
we said from customers like, hey man, just let us know what we can do. Like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
like we love the feedback. Write us a note, man. We all check our emails every
Every
10
day.
seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Every 20
feedback's the
seconds.
best one because you know
Give us
right now
feedback.
we're just like I feel like we're all blinders. Sometimes we're putting out product, and you know as much as good your product is, you're not hearing because everybody has the it's good, it tastes burnt, but it's good.
no, they're
There's,
like
you know-
it's good.
Yeah,
Did you burn it?
exactly. I mean, like be honest because that's what
Yeah.
we
Right.
you know that's what we rely on now is honesty. Like call like hey. You know the mac and cheese tastes like shit.
You forgot
Can you
forgot
please
Yep.
like
something.
make sure because that's your experience
Right.
will define the next person's experience.
Yeah.
So if you got a shitty fucking food, you're gonna have shitty food, and you're gonna have shitty food, and you're gonna and then
Right.
We're
next
none of
thing
us
you know,
gonna
you're
know.
So I can fix it.
why don't I have any customers?
Right.
And try not to
Feedback.
do it
Feedback's
through
huge.
your Yelp and Google and stuff that are permanent
Exactly.
things.
Right.
Like reach out to
Those
us
people
directly.
are
That's
assholes.
I think
Yeah.
that's everyone's like first ask is like
Come
give,
directly
give
to
Well, and
us the
obviously
opportunity
the other
to fix
simple
it.
thing, and you're really good at this, is I think is encouraging everybody. I mean, social media, right, is huge, especially right now. I mean, it's
yeah.
everything for us,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's our link to people that are in their homes. Like, so,
Yeah.
like sharing, sharing posts and
It's huge.
sharing your
that share button.
experiences.
Right.
I mean, like I think
Take
you've
a
done,
picture. Take a picture of your food if
Yes.
it's good
Yeah.
before you eat it.
Yep.
Sure.
Do me a favor. Make sure the food that you're gonna make it look good again.
Yeah.
It's been in the box. It's got home.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, pretty it up a little bit.
Dress it up.
And then take that picture and tell your friends I had this great meal from
Yeah.
wherever.
Sure.
You know.
And I think
Exactly.
you've done a really good job at tactfully telling people to do that. And, like I always feel like I'm like slightly, I feel like I'm like asking too much.
Because we didn't necessarily love that behavior like a year ago. We're like,
Right.
just eat your food, man. It looks great.
Like
Eat
stop.
it. It's cold now.
Well, there was a study done about the amount of food that got sent back.
Because it was like
because people have waited so long to eat
yeah.
it
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
they're taking pictures and they're
Like
posing.
there'll
and
be Tom Haverford in Parks and Rec where he just took pictures instead of eating the food.
so like a year ago, restaurateurs were like, oh god, these people are the worst. Now we're like, please do that.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something we did literally this week? We for our new pizza brand Ranchero. I'm getting all these pictures posted online, which I absolutely love of my guests.
Yeah.
But a pizza, when it goes, someone kind of shuffles around in the box. All the pizzas are kind of
Folded
here and there
up.
a little bit. So we made an option on our online ordering, and when the people call in, and we suggest that they get their pizza not cut, so they can cut it for themselves when they get home.
Okay.
But also, when they get home and take that picture, the pizza hasn't all shuffled around in the box. It's all
Sure.
still one solid pizza.
Sure.
So it's kind of like
Smart
our
guy.
ass to
Yeah,
kind of
smart
get it
guy.
going.
Yeah. So
But one thing I would ask of my guests is that obviously we don't make the rules. The powers that be above us make the rules. And if you're not happy with how things are going, it doesn't help me on my Facebook post for you to be like, face masks are stupid. You know,
Yeah.
that doesn't
Yeah.
contribute to our conversation. If you think that's the case, call your governor, call your congressman, call your whoever, and say, you know what, my local restaurant is hurting because of whatever you think it is, and then go out there and say that. We appreciate the support because we're talking to our city leaders, which have been fantastic for us, literally on a daily basis. Like we're texting them, we're emailing them, we're conversing with them, and to have the support behind us on that, I think is a huge win.
yeah, I was gonna get to that and say I don't know that I can ask any more of the consumer. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we all want to exist on our own merits and for people to come out because they feel like they get good value or they like the ramen or they like your bartender. You know, Drake does a great. Like I want to see Drake. Like I want to. You know, they want to come out and see your people and support you for what you do because of what you do, not because they're obligated to do it.
I think.
I think the onus needs to be put on the government at this point. We have all bent over backwards. We have willingly decimated our business type. We have laid off our staffs into a unemployment system that we know will not sustain.
I've laid off my staff 3 times.
And we know that there's nothing for them there. We know that the payout is so low. So we've done all these things willingly to benefit the public health. We have done what we have been asked to do for like everybody in our community because we're community-based businesses.
I mean, yeah.
Where's the give and take part for us?
Right.
So it sounds like our local municipality is going to half our liquor license for the year, right?
It's huge.
Like I was ready to put our mayor's head on a spike
But
publicly,
but just so
like,
that the
and
people
say,
watching
what can
know,
you do?
that's a bill we pay twice a year. So saying half of it means that our payment that's due right now isn't due at all. And
Sure.
we're not going to be paying again until March or April or something like that.
That's great. That's great. So I think we already prepaid it because I've been trying to stay super current on everything. And he's like, you'll get a rebate. So like that's what is being done at our local level, and that is like exactly what I've been asking for, and I appreciate that from Tom and everyone at City Council. That I hope that passes tomorrow.
Right.
That's awesome, and that's a substantive help that I think is what most businesses need.
It's a step in
Is
a
the help on the
direction.
overhead. We are all figuring out how to scale up and down as needed. And as difficult as it has been to lay off and hire and figure out how to train and adjust on the fly, we're doing that. But the one thing we can't affect is our overhead costs, right? Utility bill is going to cost, it takes whatever you got to fire up your restaurant.
Oh, dude, with those
10
front doors open, man.
Oh, I
it's
can only
like-
imagine the amount of
10
heat you're
people a
going
day, 10 people a day or 100 people a day, you
Same
have
amount
to
of heat.
same amount of heat, same amount of bill. So,
Exactly.
so I'm super thankful to our local administration for making that concession.
Yeah.
And so what I am going to ask for is not for consumers to do anything other than apply pressure at the federal, state, and continue to apply, at local
the
to
IRA
support
just-
businesses in a substantive way, like not just deferring some bills, but like
deferring
if I'm only allowed to have 10% or 10 people or whatever it is this week in my business, how can you be standing there with a handout to say, but you still owe me full bolt
Right.
for your liquor license and your food license and everything else,
Yeah.
knowing full well that I don't have the means to do that.
Right.
So that is something that's being done at the local level, and that's awesome. So I want to celebrate that.
Which is great.
But I
yeah.
want to ask for more, and I want everyone else, and that would be my ask to the consumer is
The
like
state of
support
Illinois-
support efforts that like I don't know the letter writing
State of
campaign
it
or-
really, because it is. I think you're about to say the state of Illinois is where
Correct.
the
The
ask-
state,
yeah.
the state has restricted our ability to do business. The state also literally writes the rules for ComEd and NICOR.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen issues with that recently, where they're with the situation in Byron right now. If they're willing to legislate against this stuff, and they're willing to apply pressure to ComEd, NICOR, and they're willing to cut back on our business, they also need to go to bat for us when it comes to these utility companies. Utilities are a big thing. The biggest issue that none of us have addressed, and then because we don't know what the answer is going to be, is unemployment come next year. We
Sure.
pay a huge amount of unemployment insurance, and that's based upon how many people file unemployment.
Everyone's filed.
Right. So we had no.
We helped them
usually
file.
it's
We
our
helped them
job
all
to do.
file.
It's our
Has
job to
that
take
been
care of our
part
staff.
of the-
Teach them how to keep their job good. Train them.
Yeah.
We don't want to fire people. Now this year we literally told our staff to go file for unemployment.
I helped. I've
done it.
helped 10 people, and I have all their information saved on my computer in case they don't have a laptop at home. I'm like, come in anytime
And
you
we're
need to
gonna be paying
certify
for
and
that
do
for the
it.
next
Any
4
of
years.
that, is that
Exactly.
any of that been in the conversation of like the heroes?
Never.
No,
Act,
and
any
I
of
told
those?
Josh, I said that's something that needs to be addressed is the fact that unemployment insurance is going to go through the roof next year unless
Crazy.
there's some freeze on it and saying, hey,
Like
freeze it at
thousands of
last
dollars
week.
it's going to cost us.
I hope they do.
Freeze it at last
I
year's
really
rate.
do.
Right.
From what I heard from my accountant, they're that's the reason they told them to like
Yeah.
get them have them put laid off instead of quit or fired.
Right.
Because that will reflect on how it's going to be processed next year.
They were laid off to
Yeah.
get into a system that would provide
Yeah.
them some support.
Right.
Back in
So-
March and April when there was extra bonus like
think
money,
that's-
that
yeah,
helped.
I
But
think
like
that's
anymore,
the real
We could talk about the unemployment issue that we went through at the beginning because
better open
right, I
another,
mean,
better have
you know,
another
the-
bottle of
the-
tequila if we're going to do that.
the bonus and then try to get people back. And
Yeah,
all, I mean,
yeah.
whole other issue. So should we do this again?
I love it.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
It was fun.
Are we up? Are we done?
We should.
I think
we
we're.
should be.
Put a bow
I'm tired
on
of
it.
hanging out with you guys.
I
I got
think
stuff
we're
to
gonna.
do.
I think we're gonna
Sunday.
put a bow on it. I think
This is it for me.
it's midday on a Sunday.
That's right.
This is it
Cheers.
for
So
me.
cheers,
Yeah.
guys.
Good
Hey,
times.
Good times, guys.
Thank you so
Oi,
much.
oi.
And
Cheers.
we're super appreciative of the space.
I love tequila.
I mean, how cool is this, man? Like
was
to
a
be
good
able
time.
to sit around and be videographed and
Thank you to Lux. And
Yeah.
Avis for
Yeah,
having
thank you
us.
to Lux.
Thanks for
Lux and
Absolutely.
Avis for the sweet ass setup. So
Yeah.
all right.
I just want to make sure that
right.
you know we get you a hobby before we.
Find me a hobby.
We're gonna find. All right, next episode, find Josh a hobby.
Yeah.
Right.
Next episode is find Josh a
We'll
hobby.
babysit him.
The Josh Project.
All right.
Well,
Thanks,
times.
guys.
yeah,
Thanks.
cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.